There's a really disappointing back and forth at the moment between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford because this is the fight that we all want to see a welterweight. Unfortunately, Errol Spence for the longest time has been talking about Crawford needs to cross the street and all this nonsense. And now, more recently, he's been saying that if the Crawford fight is to happen, it has to be a 60-40 split. Now, to be perfectly fair, Errol Spence is a bigger commodity than Terence Crawford right now. In terms of sales, yeah, people are going to say that Terence Crawford is more accomplished. I get that. But in boxing, it's not about who's more accomplished. It's about who can draw the most fans. That is where your commercial value comes from. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter how many titles you have or how many Olympic gold medals you had as an amateur. All of that is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is how many fans you can get into the arena or how many people you can attract to watch you fight or even pay for you or even pay to watch you fight on pay-per-view. That's all that matters. And Errol Spence definitely has the bigger fan base than Terence Crawford. Therefore, 60-40 is not an unreasonable demand. But what is disappointing is to hear that Crawford is now saying that 60-40 in Spence's favor is never going to happen. And in fact, it should be 60-40 in his favor. You see, this is where we're getting into a battle of egos. And when egos are so inflated and they won't budge, then the fans end up as the losers because these fights don't happen. Now, at the moment, Terence Crawford is locked into a contract with Top Rank for at least, I think, another, 11 months? So unless he buys his way out of the contract or something like that, then you would imagine it's unlikely to see him in the ring with Terence Crawford anytime soon anyway. I mean, the way it looks, at the earliest, maybe 2022 for Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. And that favors Errol Spence because Terence Crawford's already 33 years of age. So he's no spring chicken. If they fight in 2022, I mean, he might be 35 years of age, depending on what time of the year it happens. So, yeah, disappointing to hear all this talk of, no, I deserve 60-40. No, I deserve it. Very disappointing because that usually prevents fights, Hopefully somebody can come to their senses and somebody can realize that they're going to make enough money. Even if they concede an extra 10%, just make it 50-50. Don't get it twisted. I get why Errol Spence wants 60-40. I get it. He's justified in asking for it. But as a selfish boxing fan, yeah, Errol Spence is a bigger name than Crawford. But how much bigger a name is he? Maybe Crawford can up his profile in the meantime to such a level that when they eventually get to negotiations, 50-50 might be more realistic. But like I said, I can't be mad at what Spence is saying, but I'm disappointed in what Crawford's saying. Because basically, if you're saying it has to be 60-40 in my favor, when Spence is a bigger name than you, then that's just putting a block in the way of the fight. And I rate Terence Crawford. I think he's a tremendous fighter. But I don't like that kind of talk from him. It's like the foolishness that Errol Spence has been coming out with, all the talk of cross the street and all that rubbish. It's like Crawford is now meeting it with his own foolishness rather than taking the higher ground, which he should. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I'm out.